Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and we're bringing you Savage Saturday episode 33. And what we're reviewing today, by request, was issues 228 and 229. So the red teeth and red eyes issues, it's one in two parts. So we're going to get into that. Throughout this video, you know me, I'll have stuff over here popping up for you to look at. And we're going to get right into it. So the cover artist on the first issue, Rodney Ramos, also did the inks, and he did the inks inside on Dwayne Turner interior art, Jerry Conway's story. Okay, great cover. So I give this first cover an A+, a great depiction. Then we have 229, which was the second part. Great art by Mark Texera. And again, just a beautiful cover, really driving home the fatalism that Conan's facing in this issue. Inks by Mark as well, and inside it's Dwayne Turner art with Rodney Ramos inks. So we're going to get into these and we're going to discuss it. So, the players in this issue, we have Conan, of course. We have the Lady Leanda, and she was from a nobleman's harem who's now dancing for her money in taverns, all right, and she has Conan's eye. We have Rasu, who is a captain of a guard, who has his eye of being a general. We have Mustafa, who is the current general. And we have Claudio, who we'll get into a little bit more later. All right, so in this two-parter, a lot of politics, a lot of dealing with the trust and the ruling of men. And we got a couple different themes that are going on. We have ruling by reward and punishment, and ruling by loyalty and the promise of something, all right, for that loyalty, which is kind of the same, but just sometimes the differences are very minute, and they can be here as well. But let's get into it. So our story starts, and Conan's sitting in a tavern drinking, and as per Conan, the couple things that only get him in trouble are drinking women, and he's imbibing in both, right? So Leanda is dancing, and I'll have pictures and stuff, and he gets caught up with a couple guys that are seeking her attention. He gets up, throws them out, said it's his woman, takes her back to her apartment where she's staying, and they're having discussions about the future, because Conan's saying that she's his woman and he wants her. She's saying he can't afford to give her the lifestyle she wants because he's a mercenary, and a mercenary's wages could never support the lifestyle she's used to, having come from a nobleman's harem. And that's why she dances. And this can only get trust so far. But in their discussion, when they walk in, the oil lamp is on when they get there. And he goes, well, I know you're not so rich that you can burn oil all day. And he finds an intruder in there, because Conan's senses are always keen and always on point. She pleads with him to not kill the guy, says it's her brother. And this we find out is the captain of the guard, Rasu. Now, Rasu is there because he's a little bit on the run. He is plotting a political coup, and he wants to overthrow Mustafa, who is the general, and he wants the general's position. He thinks Mustafa is corrupt, and Mustafa is on to him, and he's on to the people that he's planning a coup with. And they've been disappearing, and they've been dying bloody deaths. A lot of blood left behind, no bodies. And while they're having this discussion, they hear noises outside, and Conan knows it's trouble. He goes, that's a lot of feet, that's a lot of people, that's a lot of men. How well do you know your sister's domain? He says, well enough to fight in the dark. And they douse the lights. And in come these cannibals. One bites on Conan's shoulder, they're fighting. They chase him off, and that was the first attempt on Rasu's life. Rasu promises Conan a captaincy that he currently has once he becomes general, if Conan helps him overthrow Mustafa. And off they go to the palace to do just that. Now, Conan is still aware of his environment. He's still being keen to what's going on. And he's, even though Rasu's leading the way there, Conan's the one leading with his senses. He knows when something's up. He hears noises. Then all of a sudden they hear screams, and they enter Mustafa's palace. They're on the way to assassinate him. And he's not in there, but there is a trail of blood leading behind curtains, and there's a secret passageway. And down they go. And once they're going down, it doesn't get any better from there. Sorry, I'm old, I gotta look at my notes. So they head down, and they almost walk into a trap. And who they see down there is Mustafa himself. Now, Mustafa already knows that Rasu's tried to betray him, and he's telling him that he's going to die anyway, that he can't trust him anymore. He's already betrayed the trust, and he's going to kill him. But he offers Conan a choice. He goes, you knew nothing about all this. You're a new player in the game. You can side with me and pledge your loyalty to me, and I'll let you live, but Rasu's going to die. And Conan is like, no man governs me. And Conan, at the end of this first issue, ends up slaying Mustafa, throws his blade through the guy, and murders him on the spot. And then they're left in a predicament, because the cannibals that attacked them earlier are now on their trail again. And the only thing that was holding them back before was Mustafa. So that sets us up for issue number 2. And this story, you know, Conan's still being aware. He's being promised a captaincy, but is he though? Because Conan doesn't truly trust Rasu, and there's reasons for that. And Rasu the whole time is sweet talking Conan about the only way to rule men is by promise and reward and loyalty, and that's what breeds, you know, the hierarchy in men. Conan doesn't necessarily buy it, but Conan knows enough to play things out until he sees a means of other directions he can take. He knows how to play the game. Now, we begin, and they're still in the cavern. They're trying to find their way through. They're being pursued by the cannibals, the albino cannibals. And Rasu loses his way in the dark and panics, almost falls down into a cavern. Conan grabs him, takes his sword because he doesn't trust them. And he goes, I can tell Leander you fell down a hole. She might even believe me. And Conan doesn't care if she believes him or not. He already knows that she's not all she's pretending she is either. But he pulls him out because Conan does have ambitions. On the off chance that he can get a captaincy and increase his mercenary pay, he wants to do that. But he's not stupid. He pulls Rasu out, and he does not give him back his weapon. Conan is not looking to get stabbed in the back. But now that he saved him, they hear hundreds of feet coming for him. It's all the albino cannibals, and they're on the run. All right, and then the cannibals are upon him. You get in this big bloody fight. Conan's slaying people left and right, and Rasu takes off like a coward down another entrance, another opening. And Conan pursues him. Conan hates cowards, and anyone that would leave a comrade fighting without aid, or at least is trying to shield him and help him out, has no worth to Conan. And Conan takes after him and falls down some steps that Rasu went down. Once they get to the bottom, the cannibals haven't pursued, and it's quite peculiar. You go, if they haven't pursued, then there must be something here. But before they can venture forth and figure this out, a new player's in the game. An old man comes out by the name of Claudio. Claudio tells him a story about loyalty, and it's not all it seems to be, and how he was betrayed by the former Taram 2 generations past in that land. Taram's just another, a king, and he was the king's advisor. But they were attacked by a great serpent, which was upending everything, and he sent Claudio, this king from 2 rulers past, 2 generations past, to go slay this beast with a group, knowing that full well that they wouldn't return. And that's when he learned that, his position actually had no worth, and as long as it was convenient for that Taram to appease him, that's what he would do. As soon as it wasn't in his best interest, he didn't care about him, sent him down to fight a beast and die, sealed up the hole by crumbling a bunch of pillars and stone into it. But the unexpected happened. And the serpent that was up there slaying everybody, the serpent god, is the giant snake, um, became subservient to Claudio. And Claudio hadn't figured out why, but Claudio was found a way to feed the serpent's hunger, and by doing that, earned the serpent's trust. And then, at the conclusion of Claudio's tale of how he became down there, and disagreeing with Rasu about what Rasu thinks is the hierarchy of man, with punishment and reward, which is the way Mustafa ruled, and which is the way that Claudio was going to take over, and basically do the same thing. People either fear you and when you punish them, or they're loyal to you through you rewarding them constantly for their loyalty. And Claudio totally disagrees with this. Conan, in the meantime, is just staying aware of his surroundings. He knows something's not right, and he knows they're being delayed. And when he tries to question Rasu about it and alert him to it, Rasu won't hear about it. He's, yeah. Let the old guy finish his tale. Let's see where this is going. But the whole time, Conan is questioning, and you can see it. Why haven't the cannibals pursued them? He knows there's something down here they fear. Otherwise, they have no reason not to go down there, overwhelm them with numbers, and just eat them. And you find out why when the great serpent emerges, and Claudio says, I'm a servant to the serpent god now. And he gives Rasu a choice to see what kind of man Rasu is. And the choice he gives Rasu, and I'm going to get it in here because I don't want to mess it up when I say it. He says, I serve the serpent god. It's a great panel. And he goes, choose your life, or that of your sworn man, who is Conan at the moment. Say the word, and the god will kill him, that you may live. And Rasu doesn't hesitate. Kill him. Let me live. And he barely gets the words out, and the serpent eats him. All right, so. And then it's on to Conan, right? The serpent's already ate him. Claudio's already proven that you can't trust man, and that the basis trusts are the instinctual, like hunger and survival, are the things that man depends on. And he gives Conan a great bit of advice, even though he plans on killing him. And he says, push out your faith in others, and you will never be disappointed. You can only trust others so far. Conan's taking this to heart, even though he knows this guy's going to try to kill him. The serpent's still after Conan. And we got a great little battle scene with Conan fighting the serpent and the serpent dying. Conan slays it. And the cannibals, having nothing to fear, rush in and they start eating the snake and also Claudio himself. They're overthrown, and Conan leaves of his own accord. And a great little conclusion. Conan's back at the tavern. Leanda's dancing on a table, earning her silver and gold and copper. And Conan calls her out on all her lies, but says he's going to be on his way, but he's there to enjoy one more night of her dancing, and the story ends. So great little story, a lot of little political intrigue in it, and a lot of lessons to the trust of man and hierarchy of man, and what's the right way to rule, and the right way not to, and none of them are really proper. And the lesson Conan learns through these two issues is that the only person he can truly trust and count on and depend on is himself. And that's where this issue leaves Conan. So, great little tale, great little story, great little two-parter. Now let's get to my ratings. Both covers I'm going to get an A+ to. Great depictions of Conan. In the first one, you see Conan in peril, which he is in a lot of situations. He's going to find a way out. Cute little cover by Rodney Ramos, and I really enjoyed it. And the second cover by Mark Texeira, really good cover. So shows Conan at his savage best, being overrun by the numbers and fighting with his indomitable will to survive. The story with the political themes and the lessons learned for Conan in this, and A+ in the story. I found it to be a really good read, and it wasn't a task. This was the first time I actually read these first two issues. Believe it or not, I haven't read every Conan issue because I didn't grow up with a lot of them. I read all the ones I grew up with, but there's a lot of these I'm still discovering for the first time. So this is great on two parts. I discovered a two-part story I haven't read yet, and I loved it. The art, I'm going to give a B. Dwayne Turner did an adequate job with Conan. Sometimes it was a little plain. The inks by Rodney were really good, but I think what didn't help the art is the coloring. The coloring is really flat. Sometimes it's really good. Other times it makes them look like a 90s cartoon, and it doesn't fit in with the story. So the coloring was hit and miss, so it would take me in and out just a little bit. But the writing by Jerry Conway was good enough that it kept me going. It was really good. It was a great two-parter. So again, covers A plus, story A plus, the interior art a B, and the conclusion an A plus. So all around, solid entry in the Conan saga with a great two-parter, with some great creepy moments, creatures, women, cannibals, political intrigue, and what more could you want, right? Great Hyborian tale, and until next time, stay savage and keep it casual.